Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Turfway Park replay review. I'm CC Broaddus, and I'm joined by my pals Geoff Riggs and Trey Server. Welcome, guys.
What's going on, CC?
Glad y'all could join us on this Sunday evening after a full week of racing, the first week of racing at Turfway Park. And why are we doing this? I don't know the real reason, but feel like we need to help the people out with some maybe educate them on trips, maybe point out some nice performances. Turfway is always fun to watch. It's a guilty pleasure, I think, for me, and it's something to do during the winter as we're waiting for spring to come back. And it's I think there's some chances to make some money. Hopefully we'll find some horses during the course of doing these videos. We'll find something out. Maybe we can help somebody along the way. What do you think, guys?
Exactly. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about right there.
Yeah.
Breaking it down a little bit. And, I haven't really seen anything like this for Turfway. So I think that I think this will be good. I'm excited to get into it.
Breaking ground, as always.
That's right.
All right. First of all, we want to point out some superlatives. Let's talk about our jockey of the week. And that would be none other than Gerardo Corrales with 6 wins. And I think you'll find that Gerardo is going to be perennially among the leading riders at Turfway. It seems like he was the leading rider maybe over the last 2 years. I can't remember. Maybe not last year. I probably should have looked that up before we come on. But he's always going to be at the top. So always keep an eye on Gerardo Corrales. And then we also want to point out now Corrales earned a lot of his victories with trainer Larry Ravelli. And Ravelli has been on a tear as of late. I read, I think it was on Twitter, that Ravelli has won 9 of his last 10. I know he lost a race today at Fairgrounds, though. I did see that. I don't know how many he ran today, but maybe 9 of his last 11. And he won 5 races at Turfway, and he won 3 of them on Saturday night. So congratulations to our jockey of the week, Gerardo Corrales, and our trainer of the week, Larry Ravelli. All right, let's dig in. Now we've got 6 races we want to review, and I'll take the first one. And the first one race we're going to look at here is race number 2, and this was on Wednesday night. Now this was a $5,000 claimer for 3 years old and up, which have never won 2 races. Now, why are we looking at a nickel claimer? Well, guys, you never know. If you might find a diamond in the rough, maybe a single in a pick 4 or a pick 5 down the road. Maybe you need a key and a trifecta or a superfecta. So this is a horse I'm interested in. Number 5, Lanaya. And he's in the first turn here. He's got the green cap and yellow silks. And he's between horses there. Mid-pack, he's running right about. He's a joint 4th right now. Right here, as the rider Tiago Canuto is really slamming on the brakes here. This horse really wants to go. He's headstrong. He's way too headstrong for this type of race, going a mile, a 2-turn mile. And as you can see, he's water skiing down the backstretch. Not much he can do. The horse really wants to go. He's fresh. He's been off, I think, of like a 3-month layoff. And so he's probably a little bit fresh. And so, yeah, the horse he's 3rd right now in the white blinkers. And then I think the rider makes a mistake here. And we'll see here yeah, right here, he squeezes the lemon a little too early, I think. So Canuto goes to the lead, and what is this? About 3/8 of a mile left to go, and now the horse is
Yep.
kind of in a drive with 3/8 of a mile to go, and it's probably too early. Now he's going to get swallowed up. Now I thought this was a pretty good effort. He gets blown out. I think he winds up running fourth here, but I thought the horse ran okay for first start off a 3-month freshening. So this is the type of horse I think could improve for Bob Klein, Robert Klein, a trainer I'm not real familiar with. I think he's kind of a thistledown, maybe an Ohio guy. But yeah, Lanaya, I thought ran okay on the brief freshening. I would use that horse again, second time out at the same level. Maybe depending on who's in the race, maybe a trifecta key, something like that. So it's my first offering. Who's next? Opera Mundi on Thursday. Trey, I think that's you. I've got, first of all, I'm going to hijack you real quick.
Sure.
And I want to show the Valley View Stakes. And this was Opera Mundi's first start in the U.S. And she breaks from the rail, as you can see here. She's the red one saddle towel. And you're going to see as she goes in the first turn, she's very headstrong, just like Lanaya. But this is a whole lot worse. She's going to have her mouth open, and she really wants to go. Kind of causes some trouble here. And as you can see into that first turn, yeah, look at there. The jock's really, really trying to strangle her here going into that first turn on the backstretch. Look, has the mouth open. So that tells me a whole lot. A filly that's headstrong like that, maybe you run them next time in a sprint, and she can't be ranked because they're going full force down the backstretch. So and lo and behold, this filly Opera Mundi comes back in a sprint on the Tapeta at Turfway. So Trey, I'm going to throw it over to you, and then we're going to talk about, as I X out of that race, we're going to talk about this filly's run on Thursday. This is race 8, December 5th at Turfway. Okay, Trey.
Okay, so yeah, so the as you said, Opera Mundi breaks from the 2-hole in this particular sprint, and actually drops out to the very back. Doesn't have a very good break at all. The 9-horse, who nearly goes gate to wire, is going to set some pretty nice fractions. I think 21, 45, and like I said, keeps going on with it. Lon Machado rode Opera Mundi in this particular race. I think when I ended up going off as a 2-to-1 favorite. The thing I like about this horse is it just kind of chills in the back for a little while, and then kind of makes a wide, sustained move. And if you see when they get to the stretch, he really doesn't have to ask this horse for much. Passes all these horses on the outside and just takes off.
She's
And
doing
like
it
I
on
said,
her own right here, as you can see.
Yeah,
She
exactly
comes off
right.
his turn 8 wide, but she's doing it all on her own and without being asked.
Yeah, so like this, and I haven't figured out yet with Turfway. The other day, speed horses were killing it, but as you see in this race, comes off, just drives past, and then just opens up in the stretch. I was doing a little bit of research, and if they want to continue to run in sprint races, this horse is going to turn 4 years old at the first of the year. There is a horse, there's a race on January the 11th called the Likely Exchange for 4-year-old fillies and up, going 6.5. I think that would be a terrific spot for this horse if they decide to keep her at Turfway. And then if they want to move on from that spot, there's this race called the Wintergreen on March 1st, which would be 2 logical spots that I can see this horse running in, because I think she's got a bright future. It just depends if they want to keep her at Florence or not, or if they want to go down south and try the big girls.
Yeah, I wonder, Walsh has a string at Fairgrounds. She might be a type to take on one of those stakes races down there, right, Geoff?
Yeah, absolutely. Good money down there in those stakes.
Yeah. She's a well-bred filly. She's by Kingman, who's one of the top sires in Europe, and out of a Galileo mare. So, if they can get her to settle early, she could probably do 2 turns, probably go longer than maybe 9 furlongs based on that pedigree. But, we'll see. Walsh definitely has a nice prospect on his hands. Okay, now we're going to go to Friday night. This is race number 1. Geoff wants to talk about, I think this is Trey
Trey
Francais.
Francais.
Trey
That's right.
Francais.
You said it well.
Trey Francais. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, my
Another
ancestors.
this is another 5,000 claimer here. In 2L this time. So it breaks from the rail. As you can see the one horse there. Uses a little bit of energy to keep that inside position, which is important, not to lose the ground. Gets a really nice trip here, and then that horse to outside wants to go on with it. So we take off and really get a really nice trip here through most of the time. And as we're just watching this run through, I got to say the video quality of Turfway has just been on point this year, guys. Haven't you thought so?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do a
Yeah,
fantastic job there.
I'm loving it. Just watching the races and watching the replays, how good this looks. But yeah, you can see Trey Francais just had been working well over the surface going into this race. Got bet down to 2-1 off of a 10-1 morning line. Had only been on the turf before, which makes sense. But thought would probably run pretty well in this race. The way that she was training over the track, we're getting this nice pocket trip going into the turn. And Juan Machado's on this one and is just going to wait for the rail to open up. And it really looks like going into the stretch, that rail is going to open up for this one coming up here as it just still in hand. I mean, hasn't asked for anything yet. Looks like an absolute winner right now. And then
Yeah.
right here as we go into the stretch, it looks like it's going to open up. And then as soon as you see that opening, boom, door gets slammed, head goes up,
Nowhere
and
to
then
go.
is just stuck behind a wall of horses. Absolutely nowhere to go. Is back into, fifth, sixth at this point. And then once it opens up, she digs back in and starts running again and just barely ends up getting nosed for fourth on the wire. But I liked the fight. I liked the way that she responded after getting cut off for this kind of level. Horses at this kind of level don't really show that kind of fight usually. So this is one to look forward, coming back at Turfway. I think,
She's
bet her next
tiny,
time out.
really. I wonder if she
Yeah.
might be a sprinter. After, I mean, she did run in a sprint at the Meadowlands, going 5 furlongs in her last start prior to this. I wonder if she could probably do a little bit of everything. But the best part of that, I thought it was a good point out by you when we talked about this race before. They didn't pick the treble line up in the chart.
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up. So I, saw that, marked it down, looked the next day at the chart. There was absolutely nothing in it. I looked again at the chart right before we got on air tonight, and they changed it. They updated it and put the trouble in there.
Ah,
So I was like, man, so that's going to hurt
daggone.
our price a little bit next time out that they gave that info away in the chart. But still was, I thought, a good amount of trouble and was the best horse in that race.
Yeah. Again, that was another nickel claimer going 1 mile for fillies and mares who've never won 2 races. So she's relatively unexposed. So that was just her 7th lifetime start. So yeah, that's a filly that might be okay next time out. So yeah, keep an eye on Trey Francais. All right, now I've got the next one, and we're going to go to Friday later that evening at race number 8. And this is a race that was won by Tagliatelle. And our buddy Alan Schneider gave this one out to us privately, but he cashed a pretty good ticket on this. But yeah, so all right, breaking from the gate. Now, there's 2 horses in here I want to keep an eye on. First is on the far outside, number 13, Ajaib. I don't know how you say that, but he's in the black silks. He's about 5 wide. And then if you want to look further back to, I think, number 10, excuse me.
Yeah, number 10 is Alder.
Alder, that's the one. Alder's number 10. That's the maker horse with the white bridle, the yellow cap, and the light blue silks. So they're heading down the backstretch here, and Ajaib is about 5 wide here, and the jock decides to go now, and he's going to be 5 wide all the way around this turn. And if you look further back in the pink silks is the eventual winner Tagliatelle, who is in probably the 3 path. And then on the far outside, Alder makes his move for the lead, and he's going to be out in a 6 path. So turning for home, Ajaib had this wide sweeping move to try to get the lead. He finally gets the lead, and I think that did him in. and now Tagliatelle is just going to blow his doors off, and a jibe is going to wilt and finish. I think he finished his fourth here, and then further back, Alder is another one that tails off there at the end. But I think those wide journeys really hurt the chances of both of those. I think a jibe is a horse I'm really interested in. He knocked me out of a pick 4 earlier this summer. He ran down my single, Aglise, who's I think a really nice horse. And so, yeah, but Jibe is a horse I think looked like he handled the Tapeta really well. I'd mark him down as a horse to watch next time out. Alder the same way. I think, the Turfway track was playing on the fast side. You didn't see a whole lot of horses coming from far out of it. Outside of maybe Opera Mundi would be one, but yeah. So I would give Alder a mulligan. I think he's probably deserves a second chance. But a jibe is the horse that I'm interested in the most out of that spot. Okay, moving right along. Now we're going to talk about a first-time starter, and this was on Saturday in the Larry Ravelli show. But we're going to talk about a Palo Lobo first-time starter breaking from the outside. So who had this one, guys?
I did. Steppin' Silver.
All right, have at it here. Let me bring the race up for you.
All right. So as CC mentioned, I mean, anytime you draw the 12 hole at Turfway, first time out, especially going a route, that's a tough place to be. I thought Evan Ramon actually did a decent job saving what ground he could going into the first turn, but still ended up 4 wide out there, which is not really the place you want to be. Still 3 wide going through the turn here. I mean, we're going to see that this is a theme. Really was wide through the entire race. It was only 14-1. It's a homebred for Brownwood Farms, and just now debuting very, very late in the 3-year-old year. So probably had some issues getting to the races, but is doing well now, obviously. And they took their time with him. And this was really a field that had some pretty well-regarded horses. It's an $80,000 purse for these maiden special weights here at Turfway, and the winner that went wire to wire here on McDreamy had 2 nice starts under his belt already. So I thought it was a pretty good field. You can see that he's ranging up there on the outside in the yellow already. So kind of made an early move into the turn there. Steppin' Silver did, and even though he was 5-6 wide the entire time, still going 3 wide around the turn, making this big move. As CC said, it's one of those early moves once again. I think he kind of thought that he was going to have to do more work than he did. I think the horse surprised Evan Ramon a little bit with the kind of turn of foot that he had going into the turn, and then I mean the leader on McDreamy just had some left in the tank because he had things his own way up front. But I like the way that Steppin' Silver dug in here after he was turned away by this very impressive winner. I mean, he doesn't hold on for second, but he still holds on for third, tries all the way to the wire, had the widest trip of anybody. Definitely one to watch moving forward.
I don't have the past performances in front of me, but who was the sire of Steppin' Silver? Is it the Factor?
The Factor, yeah, who is a really nice Turfway sire, nice Tapeta sire.
Right. Yeah. So I would expect that one to now the problem that, a horse that runs well going 2 turns in their first start, they're probably going to get hammered next time.
Right.
But,
right.
I mean, I thought it was a pretty nice effort. So, obviously have to pay attention to that one in his next start. Now, let's get to the final race we're going to cover. And Trey's been bitching and moaning about this race ever since it happened.
Yes, I have.
This was on Saturday. Here it is. I found it. All right. We're going to look first. We're going to look first at the pan shot, and then we're going to go to the head on. So, Trey, take it away. Now we're going to talk about Finster for Godolphin and Owen Hardy.
Yeah, so Finster's the 5. That's who wins. The horse that I'm going to be more worried about are the 9 and the 10. Both the horses that I used in my pick 4s on that day. The 10 horse I think is Heavy Pour, and the 9 horse is Gunnarara. The 10 horse takes the 9 out at the start, basically eliminates that horse. The 10 horse is ridden by Walter Rodriguez, I believe, and he has them all over the track to start the race. Couldn't really figure out where to go. Now he's stuck in the middle here, and the speed horses, they all kind of stop, and it bunches everybody up. and the 5 horse who you see here is getting ready to hit the rail. It ended up getting the best trip out of everybody. But the 10 is ranging up here in the lime green colors. Can't figure out where to go. Tries to go right, tries to go left. Now ends up going down to the rail, and the 5 horse takes its spot. The 10 horse bounces off the rail, has to check. It starts to come on. The 9 horse who had lost all chance to start, he makes a nice run. Like I said, the 5 horse wins. But once CC goes ahead on, the 10 horse is just, I'm surprised the horse didn't get dumped, to be honest. Because he bangs off the rail. Walter's got him everywhere. That's the horse that I am most interested in for future.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Trey, watching that race. I thought Hard Poured was pretty impressive. One, that he stayed on the horse, and two,
Yes.
just how it finished up. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, he couldn't figure out where to go. He had horses everywhere. He had a lot of horse, obviously. But as like it says, they come around this turn, you'll get a real sense of where he shouldn't be going and where he is going. He's in between horses now, and so he's like, oh, I'll just go to the rail because it looks like it's gonna open up. And right here, he gets cut off and bounces off the rail. And then he goes to the outside, try to get around the 5. Well, then the 5 comes back, and then he dives back inside. So like I said, he's all over the place, and I think he ended up running 4th or 5th, somewhere around there. Definitely was one that I was hoping would get there because I thought I had a big chance.
Shows the horse has heart, though, right? When they have all that go wrong, and they're still trying through the wire.
Yeah, they got heart and a couple bruises to go with it now.
That's right.
That's a heavy pour. That's a Presque Isle horse. That's Tim Girton, correct?
Yes, that
Right?
is correct. Yeah.
So that was a nice effort. I'm surprised they didn't, the rider didn't maybe call for an objection there, because the horse the Finster did drift out in front of him and take his path. So yeah, surprise there. But yeah, the good news is the horse did ran off the board. So maybe the effort didn't look as good as it did, watching the race here. So that helps, maybe helps the price next time. Yeah. So horse to watch there. Finster looked absolutely loaded the whole time. That was that horse never looked like a loser to me. But it was a really ballsy ride by Chaminade to get through and win that spot there when there was absolutely no room at all. So all right, guys, that was 6 races, several horses there you might want to take a look at. If you do stable mail like I do, maybe just add some of those horses to your stable mail, and they'll probably pop up at Turfway here at the end of the month of December or maybe early January, and you can catch those horses the next time around. Now, before we go, we want to point out what's going on Saturday. Big day of racing on Saturday, the Turfway Park Synthetic Championship, something that we've never seen in these parts in December. 4 $250,000 races. That's pretty strong.
Look at that money.
Yeah, $250,000 My Charmer, mile and 16th for fillies and mares. The $250,000 Holiday Inaugural at 6 furlongs. $250,000 Prairie Bayou for the older horses, the older male horses, mile and 16th. And the $250,000 Holiday Cheer at 6 furlongs. Here's a trivia for you. My dad and his buddies owned a horse that ran second by a head in the Holiday Cheer about 15 years ago. So race that always means something to me. But incredible fields. I think 3 of the 4 races drew overflow fields, and one of them drew 11 horses. So going to be an interesting sequence, and you can probably get a little bit of luck, but we'll be here to review them all next time around, next Sunday. So but that's all I got. If anybody wants to add something, now's the time. Otherwise, we'll sign off.
Well, I got a quick question for the both of you. Asmussen and Maker and the big boys haven't done real well. Do you think it's because they don't have any good string here? Do you think they're just not doing well? Would you toss them?
I would fade Asmussen because his number 1 string is going to be at Oaklawn, maybe, well, actually, I take that back. His number one string maybe at Fairgrounds, the really top horses, and then his good claimers would probably be at Oaklawn. And it seemed like he did actually win a few races last winter, but I always try to fade him at Turfway. And then the Maker used to be really strong at Turfway several years ago, and then last year he was awful. So yeah,
Well, he's riding Joe Ramos right now. I don't necessarily think that is a vote of confidence either.
Well, Ramos is all right. I think he wasn't he the leading rider at Indiana Grand maybe a couple of years ago. I know he just got back from an injury, but I don't know. It's unless we see different, I would fade most of the Maker horses because he's going to take his top stock to Gulfstream, and then he's raced a lot of high price claimers at Oaklawn too. So I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I'm kind of the same way. At Turfway in general, a lot of those big names that aren't really solidified at Turfway. Brad Cox runs good horses there, but a lot of just the name recognition of those kind of guys, like you're saying, like Asmussen or Maker, sometimes those prices are just deflated. Even if the horse has a pretty decent shot, you got a horse that should be 3 to 1, that's 4 to 5, makes value elsewhere.
I agree. Okay.
And I would lean toward the guys that had really good meets lately, like Eric Foster and John Ennis. Jonathan Thomas was really good a couple years ago. He tailed off last year, but there's some other guys, and you'll know when they pop up in the entries. Bill Morey is another one. Those guys are really live the last few years. So
obviously Rovelli, the way he's starting the meet, right?
Yeah, right. So you just don't want to catch him on a cold streak, I think.
Right.
But it's I think that's one of the first things I do when I look at the past performances. I look and see which trainers are up, and what kind of form they're in. So, all right. I'll tell you one more. I would fade any top trainer dropping a horse into a maiden claimer at Turfway, and I have no stats to back that up. This is just purely an assertion, but that would be something I would do. It just seems like the top trainers, if they've got a really nice horse, they're going to run them in those maiden special weights. But I don't know. That's, like I said, that may be purely BS, but that's something I try to practice, is just to throw those out. But anyway,
well, it seems to be working for you.
Yeah, I've hit cash one ticket so far. So
that was a good one.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's all I got. Thank you all for helping out tonight. Hope everybody enjoys this. I hope somebody takes some kind of or get some type of assistance from this, and like and subscribe like we always ask you to do. Leave a comment if there's a race that you liked or a horse that you're interested in next time out. And as always, listen to the Auxiliary Gate podcast. We're gonna have another special guest this week, and and that's all I got. So I'll stop talking now. Everybody have a good week. We'll see you back next weekend. Peace.
All right. Good night.
Next week.